Welcome to Season 4 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa. Hi, Barry. How are you?
Lisa, how you doing?
We got the hands up, ready to roll.
Wax on, wax off. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Thank you for asking. Summer is in full swing, guys, and a lot of people are very busy these days.
If summer is in full swing out here in the South, that's for sure. The temperature is 90, but with the humidity, the feels like is 110.
Yeah, I know. I was in Florida and there was a lightning and thunderstorm show. It was quite entertaining.
We have one going on right now.
We turned off the lights and we had free entertainment. It was pretty spectacular. I'm not used to that.
The storms out here are so different. And the clouds, here they're all 3D looking and stuff. Where in California, when well, you're still there, but I was there a year ago. The clouds are kind of flat and stuff like that. Here, they're all just like crazy.
I think it's the smog in the air that we have in LA. Be honest,
it's funny that you say that, right? So coming from both of us coming from Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area. When I moved down to Southern California in the LA, Los Angeles area, Orange County, people said, why you want to move down there with all that smog? And I'm like, hey, I want to see the air I breathe, okay?
Yeah.
and so now that I've left that and I've come out here, people are like, why did you come out here with all the humidity? I said, hey, I want to wear my air.
Oh, you got another line? I love it.
Of course I do. You know me. I've got to come up with something. So now I wear my weather, right? Or my air.
Your clothes get a little bit more sweaty a lot faster. That's for sure. Yeah. But you do acclimate to whatever environment you're in. It takes some time, but I'm sure you're acclimated now to it, right?
I am. Yeah, definitely. And they get a little damp and that's what washing machines are for, right?
That's right. And hopefully you have more than one shirt.
I got plenty. Well, guys, welcome to the Biz Show. How you guys doing today? We hope you're doing well, and you're here to spend the next half an hour with Lisa and I as we dig into another business topic for you.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys listening, and welcome back. Hopefully you'll find some nuts of value today that we bring to the table. Barry, what are we on? Episode 27?
We're 27, yeah. So, the last couple episodes we talked about businesses and applications that they could use. And then we talked about AI and which AIs to use and stuff like that. This one kind of builds on top of it. Really, it's about what is the tech stack a one-person show should use, right? A one-person business. Yeah. So, we
want to cut to the chase for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or try to figure these things out for yourself. Hopefully, we'll bring you some great ideas on this show today.
Yeah, definitely. Break it down. We've both been there, right? We've both been solopreneurs, if you will, and worked our way to wherever we've been. And me for a large multi-million-dollar corporation at GE and everything. But here's the deal: as a sole person in a business, you've got to do sales. You've got to do customer service. You got to do accounting and marketing. And, you've got to come in with the technology, whatever, and operations piece of it. So there's a lot of different hats you got to wear. You even got to do the janitor, right? So there's a big workload that you got to kind of roll down.
That's right. I mean, I wake up every morning because I've been a self-employed entrepreneur since I was 21. And I think, what hat am I going to wear today? What is the most important thing and top priority for me to do? And then I have to switch my mindset into that hat or that role, if you will, and make sure I get those things accomplished. And a lot of that is prioritization, deadlines and things like that. So we want to help you achieve some really quality systems and things that you could put in place that will help you maybe do some of those other tasks that you're not able to get to in your day automatically. So systems is key in this business, no matter how big or small you are. And so we want to make sure that you're able to leverage your time effectively. And so this is really about not having like duplicate work happening, too many apps and too much software that you're like doing work across the board on, and not really getting anywhere because you're doing the same task over and over in your different apps. Or maybe you have scattered information over here and over there, and then you don't even know where to look for it. That seems to be the case with me. So, being very systematic and organized is really essential to not feeling scattered and to being more efficient in your workday. So, be aware of also security problems, logging in, passwords, that sort of thing, and not having too many systems to manage. So, you just want to, increase the amount of software or systems that you put in play with along with your growth.
Yeah,
So,
and you said it, and I felt it. I sometimes I still feel it today in scattered systems, right? Sometimes I've got to put the same data into like two to three different systems, and it's frustrating.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna kind of just kind of you know touch upon some of these things for you today. Again, it's a 30-minute podcast, so we can't drill down too deep. Not unless you
Yeah.
plan on seeing Lisa and I for the next 3 hours as we try to explain everything. But
But
so
what ecosystem are you
yeah,
guys using?
so
I mean, we would love your feedback too. So definitely write in and tell us what's working for you or what you
yeah,
like about it. We'd like to hear some.
well, and that's really the first thing, Lisa, is to define what is that ecosystem, right? Whether you're using Google, right, with work for Google Workspace, or whether you're using Microsoft, you know, Office 360, things like that, right? Because those are important, and you need to be
Yeah.
consistent. So pick
Yes.
one or the other. Um, I've said in the past, the good things and the ugly things about each, but nonetheless, just make sure that you've got a good email system, a calendaring system. I use Calendary, and I do use Google Calendar because it's on my cell phone, it's on my computer, and everything else. And
Hmm.
so now I've got it built in, so I got one calendar. But before I had like three different calendars, and I'm like, oh my god, I had a meeting
That's
here, but
great.
I missed it because I didn't see it, and
Yeah. Gets a little nutty sometimes. So
it, it,
try to
it
merge everything
Yeah, it
together.
does.
Yeah, for sure.
So, email, calendar, your documents, spreadsheets, contracts, templates, all that stuff, right? Have them in one structured place.
That's right. I love that tip, Barry, because simplify, all of your different apps into one ecosystem. So yeah, so Google Workspace is a great one. Microsoft, a lot of people use that when they don't have like an Apple or Mac computer product, so they're using the Microsoft 365. So yeah, just try to merge them together or not have things in too many different places.
You know,
And then
you're
in
you're
talking about,
you're on Google
yeah,
Workspace, and I'm on Microsoft 360.
I know. I remember the day where I was like, "Hey Barry, I'm going to send you a Google Doc. We can both work on it at the same time." All right. Reluctantly, it's hard to change what your normal, routine is or what you're used to using. But it's always
I'm
nice to try
okay with
something new
it, but
just to see
sometimes
how
I have to install software on my computer that I don't necessarily like to install. So
yeah,
but
takes time.
nonetheless, I mean,
Absolutely.
to me it becomes bloat, right? So because I'm going to use it once and then it's on my computer forever because I forget about it and forget to delete it.
I know. I know. So yeah, another very important aspect of your company and your job is to have a customer relationship management system, and we call that a CRM, so that you could manage your customers, have them, input into a system that is going to live there forever and that you could follow up with. We always lose track of the customers that were really good to us and loved our services and products, and we forget to reach out to them. And a CRM system could work automatically and effectively without you having to spend any hours of your day in there if you create some templates that are automatic, like a drip campaign system. So you want to put your prospects that reach out to you for the first time in there, maybe tag them prospect, and then have an auto drip campaign to go out and feed them information to get them to become a customer of yours. You want to keep your customers in there so you could reach out to them throughout the year and invite them back to your company to purchase more product. And it's also a way to house all of their contact information. Maybe they have a son named Billy or a dog named Charlie and a husband and a wife, and you want to keep all of their information together under their contact information. And it keeps track of your conversation. So if you do grow your company, you have more than one partner or employee, people could keep track of what you have, spoke about with that customer in a log, who reached out to them last. So you're not duplicating information or reaching out to them on something that they've already addressed or already they solved the problem. So you can keep track of your conversations. You'll have triggers to like follow up with them on a certain date. Maybe they said, I'm not ready for 3 months. And then you could put a reminder in the CRM system to reach out to them again, which is so great because then it pops into your calendar, like Barry just mentioned, as a task to do. You can also house any attachments or proposals that you have given them in there so that when you are on the phone call, you could quickly retrieve it and then speak to it. Because obviously we can't remember every one of our customers' lives and every one of their problems that we're trying to solve. So it's a great way to retrieve information right out of the CRM system. We can also have referral resources within our CRM. So if we can't help a customer, maybe there's somebody that we could refer them to. And then usually when you give them a good referral, they come back to you because they remember you were a great resource for a referral. So many opportunities live and house in the system. So choose one that's great for your company. I use Follow Up Boss. There's so many others that Barry and I are actually discussing currently, but a basic system should basically decipher who is the person, what information has been exchanged, and where they are in the process of their purchase, and what is the next step. So that could be your task reminder within the CRM system itself. So yeah, we're kind of diving into HubSpot on some of our meetings, Pipedrive. Maybe there's an industry specific platform that maybe would be suitable for your company. There's a lot of like property management software out there, Zoho. So it's just a great way to have a simple pipeline of information all together in one spot. Your initial contact, your discovery call, any proposals, like I mentioned, and then your follow-up tasks. So the key rule of thumb is that every prospect should have a next action step so that we don't lose contact with them. There's so much business that I have lost just because I have not put them in my CRM and have not followed up. So that is a big, big, you know,
We even struggle with that, don't we?
yeah, yeah, we meet so many people in a day. And I think old school, my mentors and coaches said, if you sat down and wrote them a thank you note, like actually wrote them a card, put a stamp on it and mailed it, you may remember that person more. Somehow when we put pen to paper and write them a thank you for meeting me today, our lunch or our coffee meeting was great. It may be a very old fashioned way of doing things, but that could be another way to touch them aside from an email or some CRM driven system that you have in place. So
Honestly, I had an old Rolodex, a
Rolodex.
little
I
Rolodex that
even
I
know.
would have cards on. And
Yeah.
I just came across the other day an old folder that I had that was a business call folder, and I had like 200 business cards in it. You just flip the pages. I'm like,
Yeah, because you're like, who was that person that I met at the chamber mixer? And you're like, oh my God, they were a banker and I just can't remember the name. But if you have them in your Rolodex, in your business card holder,
yeah.
you can see them. Some people are very visual. And so it's great to have, some of those old fashioned systems in place, on your desk or, in your briefcase,
I,
in
yeah,
case you don't have access to your laptop
I
or
thought I
to your
had it right
CRM.
here, but I don't.
I found mine the other day too. I'm like, what do I do with this? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
exactly.
Yeah.
I got business cards in there from 30 years ago.
I know. Are they still in business or do they want to sell their business? There could be business in the business card holder.
Right,
Where
exactly. There you go. Well, I'm sure none of them are around anymore. So,
it's
the
hilarious.
next thing is really about your schedule, right, and task, and that's a tough one for me. It is because my God, my day starts at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes goes to 7 o'clock at night. And I'm
Yeah.
in meeting after meeting after meeting. We have deal flow coming in. I'm talking with investors. I'm talking with founders, and just trying to find out who needs what and who wants what. So,
Mhm.
you know, I use Calendarly, right? It's real quick. Go in the link. It ties into my Google Calendar, and people can just go in and see my schedule, and then they can
Yeah.
pick a time for themselves that works for them. So that works really well. But calendar is one. Microsoft has bookings.
Mhm.
Google has an appointment scheduling, but the calendar itself. And there's several others out there, but here's the deal, man. Make sure that they integrate in with whatever system. If you're using a Microsoft system, they integrate in with that. If you're using a Google system, that they integrate with that. I know there's a calendar out there for Apple. And in my Outlook, I use Outlook for email. There's a calendar in there for that too, but I don't use that one, right? But if somebody sends me a meeting request, it goes in there. So I have to make
Yeah.
sure if somebody sends me a meeting request, I have to go in and get it and put it in Google manually. So,
Oh, you do.
yeah.
Yeah. There's an
But
extra step.
I set up
Mhm.
a 15-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, and a 60-minute meeting. And typically the 60-minute meetings are paid meetings, which please, guys, set up some a 60-minute meetings. I'd love to chat with you and charge you.
Yeah.
So but here's the deal, right? So I do a lot of introduction calls. Those, a lot, and weeding through what's going to work for us at InvestQuire and not. And just make sure that your meetings are have a purpose. I always allow for a buffer zone, right? Just like you and I, Lisa, here on the podcast, right? The first couple minutes we're chit chatting about whatever, right? So, and then
Yeah.
we finally get into the nuts and bolts of whatever we're talking about. So,
That's right.
just make sure that and not only that, but I've also started now separating my days. Like on Tuesdays I'm doing introductory calls, and on Wednesdays I'm doing a review with a customer that we currently have, right? So and then you and I have our partner meetings actually on Tuesdays, right? Tuesday morning just before this podcast. so
Right.
so I'm finally, after all these years, just starting to organize that.
The time blocking, it's so important.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you could lose a day and a week and a month and a year.
and
Yeah.
there's other programs that help too. Trillio, Asana, ClickUp, and I'm looking at Trillio and Asana too for some other things that we're doing with InvestQuire.
Yeah.
Um, and Notion's out there and Microsoft Planner. But just make sure that they integrate into whatever you're using, right? So again, if you're using Microsoft, then they integrate into that.
Yeah, that's such a good thing to mention because we typically think, oh, I don't need to input it in anywhere because I'm definitely going to remember to do this.
I
And
don't
how many times,
I don't even remember what I had for breakfast today, and that was
we
only a
have too
couple
much.
hours ago.
Yeah, there's way input overload going on. So get it out of your brain and put it. I just sent Barry like 3 emails because I had to get it out of my brain. And so poor
Yeah,
Barry.
great, thank you. Put it in my brain, didn't you?
I know, I love
I
it.
gave it to you to put it in your brain, and you just pushed it back.
I did. I did. That's what co-founders do. No. But yeah, so there's that aspect. There's the CRM, there's, the management systems, and then there's accounting because hopefully you're making money. We're all making money and our business is right. And we're making a lot of it. So we want to make sure we have good accounting and payment tools, receiving revenue and paying our bills on time and having your invoices being tracked so that when it comes time to tax time, you can hand your CPA a P&L, right? And you won't have to dig out any receipts. So find an accounting platform that could track your revenue, your expenses, your invoices, your payments, your accounts receivables, and all of your bank transactions can pretty much sync in from the bank into an application or software for accounting. I use QuickBooks Pro, and that is definitely all synced into my account. So they typically just go in right into the chart of accounts or each category for each expense. So I love it because then I just have to like check it, quarterly or monthly and make sure everything's accurately posted. But there's also some other common options like Wave and Zero and FreshBooks and Sage and maybe some industry specific software that I may not have mentioned. So definitely do your research on it. And always ask before you choose your product whether it's going to fulfill the needs of your company, like whether you're selling products or services, whether you need to have like a POS system tied to it. Do you have to carry inventory on there and account for what is being sold and tracked coming in and out? Do you have like subcontractors? Do you need like a recurring billing that goes out to specific vendors on a regular basis? And maybe you have like payroll needs too, and you have to have payroll services built into your accounting software. So possible payment options could include like ACH transfers or payment links that you may be sending out to clients, deposits, progress payments, and some of the things that will help facilitate that would be like Stripe or Square. QuickBooks also has a payment software built in for an extra fee. And then Wave, they also facilitate payments, and so does FreshBooks. So those are just some options to receive payments. So your payment system should automatically link to the invoices that you have in your application. So it could keep track of your customer records of who's paying their bills on time. And hopefully everyone is. So avoid manually recording it because we are humans, we make mistakes. So if everything could be systemized automatically, then you could rely on the mathematical to be correct when you're producing your P&L statements, because math is sometimes, yeah, if that's not your forte and you're not a finance manager, or you don't have a finance degree, then you definitely want a software program that does it automatically for you. So establish your payment rules upfront with your customers. Establish an invoice due date. So in the system, it'll flag it when it's late. Automatic reminders, schedules, late payment follow-ups, all of those things could be systematically sent out to the consumer or the customer if you're having a problem receiving payments. So those reminders are helpful because, like we mentioned, your memory is not going to keep track of everyone in your business or everyone in your pipeline. Hopefully there are lots of customers. So
And all of that, people from a former CFO,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
CFO, you guys are a very important integral part of the company because the incoming revenue better be good, right? It better be upheld to the penny.
yeah, well, yeah, definitely so. And I've been in businesses, for instance, a public business, right? You
Yeah,
do account for every single penny. You can, and when you are reconciling your accounts for the month, like at GE, publicly held company, every single, if you're off one penny, you're going to spend 3 days looking for that penny because the SEC is going to say, wait a minute, there's no fluff here.
yes,
So
exactly.
definitely those programs there that Lisa was talking about will help you big time. So last episode, actually, we talked about AI, right? And so this is really about using the AI that we talked about prior, but again, automating some of the things that you do that are repetitive over and over and over again. You can
Yeah,
use AI to do a lot of that. So, what might those be? Well, they're going to be, emails to customers, possibly. Maybe you can set all your goals and your criterias in, and it can help you write, proposals. Uh, it can set meeting agendas for you, or it also can do. For instance, we do Zoom, and now there's AI that I use Otter.ai that records the whole
right.
meeting, and then it puts up some really nice notes for me and stuff like that. So there's
Awesome.
a
Yeah.
lot of things that could do. Of course, we've already mentioned, all the different models, right? The Chat GPT, the Gemini, the Claude, the Perplexity, and Microsoft Copilot. And as I mentioned last week or the week before it was, I have really not used Copilot, so that's something that I need to kind of dive into and test it against all the other models. I
Yeah.
have some criteria that I sent out to all the models, and then saw what came back and what was legit, what was a little fluff. I got to do the same then with a Copilot. So it's unfound, not unfounded, but it's untested for me at the moment. So,
We got to use
just
it to learn.
start simple though, really, right? Just take a couple. If you can take back 5 minutes of your day to start with, that's a start. And then as you learn how to use AI better, you can progress into getting an hour back and then maybe a couple hours back. I'm now to the point where I'm getting several hours back a day. So, and in some of the things and some of the deals that we're working on the deal flow, some of those deals that we would review would take us 3 weeks, and now we can get them done in an hour.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Become way more efficient.
Yeah, it's funny, Lisa. I remember, I think it was season one, right? We were talking, so we're talking, what, 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago.
Wow.
We were talking about
Yeah.
AI, and we were saying, be careful, and
Yeah.
watch out for nefarious, things. And still, that hasn't changed. So people use AI to do nefarious things. As a matter of fact, there was an article today I just read that an AI, it didn't name who it was. I want to research, but one of
Yeah.
the AIs got hacked by an
Wow.
AI.
Oh my.
So
What?
go figure that one out, right?
Oh, how funny.
But
That should be
yeah,
at the top of the headline.
when I find the article, I'll email it over to you because I only got to read maybe the first two paragraphs of it, and then we had to jump on our
Wow.
meeting and stuff like that. So I want to follow up, but it seemed intriguing. AI hacked AI.
That's hilarious. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. They're going to make movies about it
You
for
know,
sure.
so just as far as the automation goes, Lisa has said this so many podcasts, right? Don't automate a broken process, right? Make sure you get that process down, then automate it. Because if it's a broken process and you automate it, well, how do you even know it's broken, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you know the results you're getting back aren't broken as well? Because they're probably a 90% chance they are.
Yeah. The phone's not going to ring, right?
Well, if it's going to
That's
ring, it's going to ring with the wrong customer.
usually right. The ones that are telling you your process is broken. Um, Yeah, and so important is as we are a one-man show, you do definitely want to protect your business and all of the things that you have going on in play. A lot of us try to like just hold it all in our memory and just encompass it all in our daily life and schedule and not and then they never automate and they never get systems in place. But it's really important because you're holding all this valuable information to put it in the right place in the right ecosystem because you really need to have accounting for like customer records and all of your contracts and obviously all of your financial records because you wear all these different hats. You are the CFO, you are the CEO. And so your tax documents become a very important piece of the history of your company, especially if you ever want to sell the business. So make sure those are housed in a safe place with secured passwords and whatnot. Um, I like to be able to go to my CPA and have him send me, what I need if I need to show a tax document, and then he sends it over with a secured password login. There's also intellectual property that you have to protect, so nobody can hack that, and all of your personal EIN numbers and any business information that you wouldn't want to be out on the internet somewhere. So make sure you have a proper security stack that protects your passwords, that you create unique passwords, that every so often you're changing the passwords, especially if you're starting to hire employees, have them have their own logins and so forth. And then there's those two-factor authentication processes that you could put in place so that if somebody did leak out the password to somebody, then you would be able to, have it protected a second time. Um, Device encryption, automatic software updates. That's very essential to make sure you're doing those. So you have the antivirus, in place and Wi-Fi's. I mean, a lot of people don't know that their Wi-Fi is unsecured, and so make sure you do have a password tied to your Wi-Fi, especially when you're operating business and other people's financial information. You want to make sure you're using a secure Wi-Fi. Um, Cloud storage is pretty essential in case you do have damaged software or an outage or something like that. So make sure you have something up in the cloud that is backing up all your information and that you have proper recovery procedures in place. That is something that people don't think about. And then when it comes time to, react out of a crisis situation, that's when you realize how important that piece of the puzzle is. So protect your email, your banking, your accounting, any payment links and payment processing. Those also come with passwords that need to be changed. Your website too. Make sure you freshen up your website and have those passwords and links are properly actually being they're properly able to be used because sometimes links get broken. And then that's a poor reflection on your company. And register your domain. And also your CRM system. Make sure all of those contacts and relationships that you've built over the years and all your blood, sweat, and tears, that all of those names are protected. You don't want anyone just to have access to your CRM system. And of course, social media gets hacked on a daily basis. People do the imposter thing and they pretend to be you and try to, receive monies. That happens every single day, especially in real estate. So be very careful with your social media accounts. And yeah, make sure you have password reset links that are being sent to your email and not anyone else's. Um, and so that's definitely something that, while we're in the throes of our daily tasks, we don't think about, these things that we should be protecting.
I had, I know, and you have too, but I've had issues in the past where I had needed to reset my password, and the reset goes to an email that I had, 30 years ago. I'm like, oh
Yes.
man, I don't remember. I don't even have that email anymore.
I'm dealing with that right now. And then you call the company or vendor and they just can't even break through it either from an internal standpoint, or maybe there's some sort of like liability that they don't want to have.
Right.
So they just tell you that you're going to have to somehow recreate the email and get into it in order to change your password. So it's very mind boggling, but yeah, those are things that you do have to deal with, and just put it on, add it to the list of being an entrepreneur,
I
right?
had something the other
So,
day for an old email address that went to my old Yahoo account. And that Yahoo account I had when I was in Brentwood,
oh my,
so that was 30, well, 20 some odd years ago, right? Like, I don't
love how
even
you
use
say
that email anymore. Is it still around?
oh my gosh.
So,
Yeah,
you made mention of something too. And just think about this, people. Lisa said automated software updates. Let me ask
yeah.
everybody a question here. How many of you are still running on Windows 10?
Oh boy.
Because if you're running on Windows 10, guess what? There are no more updates. There's no more security patches. It's
Oh
still
yeah, yeah.
operational and running, but Microsoft is not supporting it anymore. So, and you can call Microsoft and they'll charge you to fix whatever problems you have, but it's not going to be free, number one. And number two, if anything happens or there's hacks that come out for it, they're not going to patch it up. They've moved on. They're on 11, and they're actually working on the next version of Windows already. So just think about that, and then go back and
Interesting.
think about your accounting software and all the others and things like that too, right?
Yes, things are constantly changing and improving. So make sure you're using the best of the best products and features available to you to help protect your business and make yourself more efficient. Ultimately, in the end, that's what the name of the game is to cut out the hours of the day that we're working
Right. So basically,
manually.
you're doing all of this to protect your brand, right, Lisa?
Yeah, but the branding is part of your reputation. So that it has to show some sort of like prestige and ease, if you will, for the consumer, and accuracy, right?
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, think of this: if you are scatterbrained and you can't remember all this stuff, that's going to bubble out to your customers, right? And then what concept are they going to have or ideal they're going to have in their head about your business?
Right, right.
So if you're not organized and set up, a solid professional looking, I mean, as a one person business can absolutely do it. They need help, with the softwares we mentioned above and stuff like that. But you can basically look very professional.
That's right.
Well,
And
so
that's so important.
yeah, isn't it though? Well, shall we jump into
Yeah.
some tips there, Lisa?
Yeah, let's wrap up this podcast episode and kind of give you the highlights of it and
Yeah.
send people off to go do their job.
So, tip number one, right? Use a separate business phone number, right? Don't use your
Mhm.
personal number. for whatever, right? And if you don't have or you can't afford, you can always go. Google has Google Voice, and you can go get a free telephone number in your area code that then goes into your cell phone or whatever the case might be. But don't use your personal cell phone. And I say cell phone, but even your landline, right? So for
Yeah,
anyone who still has one of those, um, don't use that, right?
yeah,
So there's voice out there. There's open phone. There's Ring Central. There's a couple of those out there. Tip number two is check data exports before buying software. I fell into this trap many times. So I go out and I'm looking for software that does a specific function. I found it great. So I purchase it. I go in. I do everything I needed to do. I spend hours and weeks and working on it. And okay, great. Now I'm going to export it. And guess what? It doesn't export it into the format I need it. So
yeah.
it's like, great. Now my all my data is hostage in this program. I need to get it out because I need to put it in a spreadsheet or to another program, but the format isn't there. And then I got to go
Yeah,
find a interim program that I can export it into that, and then from that into it's a pain in the rear end for sure.
exactly. Yeah.
And then number three is basically set a budget for your technology, right? So, and I've had this as a CIO and a CEO for many times. Um, there's always a budget, right? And the budget should be something that is a percentage of your revenue coming in. Number one, but number two, watch subscriptions because those can get out of hand really, really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting billed for things that I didn't authorize, and it's just like such a hack. I mean, it's just such a problem. So
Yeah.
you definitely want to monitor your accounts because some of those things that you weren't being billed for before, maybe they have a new um, enrollment and now they're starting to bill you. So it's frustrating, but definitely get a handle on that. Maybe look into it before. Pro tip number six is definitely create an onboarding checklist so that you remove people's account access, you're changing shared credentials, and you're properly recovering company files. And also, if you're going to transfer ownership, you want to make sure that you're doing that properly too.
There's a
And
whole
disable.
checklist for that.
Oh, gosh, yeah. So, review your customer communications is definitely something that you want to make sure you have a system for when a contractor or an employee leaves the business. You want to make sure that you have access to all of those things. Otherwise, they take it with them, and then you potentially lose out on any future business because it's going with the employee. Um,
Yes.
yeah, that's pro tip number six.
Okay. So.
And I think I missed a couple, but yeah, pro tip four, maintain your subscription. We talked about that. The billing frequency. I'm dealing with that right now too. And your customer experience. Gosh, that's amazing to have those meetings with your customers and to get testimonials and review that they're happy with your company.
I was going to say, I thought you jumped ahead there.
I did. I jumped ahead to the last pro tip. So keeping you guys on your
Nonetheless, you
toes.
still got your three in, so you're good. Um,
Or three for three.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So things to avoid, people, right? Number one is using your personal email for business. That's a big no-no. People, you know, people do that every once in a while because something's wrong with your email. Okay, that's fine, but don't use your personal email. Not only that, but think about this. Sometimes people have weird names for their email addresses, right? At Gmail.
Yeah,
So it's like, I like to pick my nose at gmail.com. Like,
it's
that's
so,
very unprofessional,
I know.
right? So
Yeah,
don't do that.
you don't want to be
You
unprofessional. Yeah.
um, avoid giving contractors full access to your applications, right? Give them just the access
Oh
they
gosh.
need, or you're going to print it out and give it to them, whatever the case might be, because they are that contractors, right? They're not employees. You know, have you done background checks on them and all this other stuff? You don't know. So
Right.
be careful. I'm just saying, check it out really well. And then the third one is um, choose a software based on or choosing a software based on the introductory price because a lot of them will start out cheap, So, okay, yeah, we're going to give you the first 6 months at $10, and then after that, it's $200, right? And then
Yeah.
it may not do what you need it to do. For instance, when you're looking at accounting packages and you're looking at QuickBooks versus Wave, Wave is free.
Yeah.
It's really good for basic accounting and stuff like that, and it's getting a lot better and adding new stuff. And they're starting to add the subscription fees and stuff like that into it. But then you look at QuickBooks, which is all encompassing.
Exactly.
It's a little bit more, but it's going to get everything you need to get done.
Yeah. Right. And tip number 4, installing any unnecessary browser extensions. I mean, don't do that. Number 5, ignoring your mobile performance. Like, we definitely need to have it at our fingertips in case we're not at the desk all day. And then number 6, allowing notifications to control your day. Oh my gosh, there's so many notifications. People get like very ADD about it, and they want them to make sure they, text back everything or check everything. And some of those can be ignored. Remember to prioritize your day and time block your day effectively. And that's all we got for you.
That's it. That's the finally an end, huh? Well, listen,
We've come
guys.
to the end of the podcast.
Thank
Hopefully you
you.
found
Thank
it
you for
valuable.
staying to the end, listening to us. We appreciate
Yes.
it. We're trying to help you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the Biz Show. We really could use your support, and that'll help us grow and get to more people. And you can get a hold of Lisa and myself where?
At the Biz Show through Facebook, and we also have our website, investquire.com.
All right. Thank you, guys. Go out and make some money.
Bye. Welcome to Season 4 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.